Welcome to Mindset with Molly. Here we are again to discuss some of the home buying process.
Yes, and I am Joe. If we have not met yet, I was on episode 1, the very first one, where we kind of talked about you, why you're not the, what do we call it?
The guru.
The guru.
I wasn't the
or
guru.
the goat.
But I'm the queen, right?
But you're the queen. Okay, that's an insider. They have to watch episode 1.
I know, right? Oh, please, yeah.
Okay, but to kick this one off, let's actually start with a fun game.
Sure.
It is called This or That Home Edition. Okay.
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
So basically, the way that it works is like you have to choose one or the other. So I'll give you an example, and then I would like for us to make up some of our own too. So example number 1. Would you rather have a huge kitchen or a massive backyard?
And I can't choose both.
I know that's so hard, to be honest.
Let's see. I think because I'm a mom of 4, I'm going to choose the backyard.
Honestly, like I could have saw that going anywhere.
Yeah.
I could have saw you saying a huge kitchen because you're a mom of 4.
Yeah.
So I was like, kind of surprised.
Yeah. I do cook a lot. It's never been like a passion of mine. I've gotten better as the years have gone on, I've expanded the menu a little bit. But I love to go outside, and I love for my kids to play outside. As some people say, a lot of times because kids are on their screens all the time, your kid needs to go outside and touch some grass, you know? So I think it's important. And Arkansas has such great weather, The summers do get a little warm, but for the most part, it's not unreasonably hot. There are some days, but...
So the back, that's so difficult because I'm thinking about like the actual layout of the house. Like if you're looking at the floor plans, if you have a big kitchen, that more than likely means you probably have a big living space as well. And I would rather have that than a big backyard. And I'm just guessing, right? Because like, when have you ever saw, this is a good question for you, actually. When have you ever saw a big kitchen in a small living space? Like, that's not really...
Not really.
That's not a thing, right?
And we don't live in like the city or anything like that, where we're in a high rise and there's a decent sized kitchen in a smaller living area, like you see on TV. I've not seen that personally or anything like that.
Okay, so that's a good guess, right?
Yeah.
For me to say, okay, so
now I'm disappointed. I didn't think about it a little bit more.
Okay, so I'm going with that one for sure. Okay, so would you rather have a dream house in the country or a modern loft in the city? Pausing for dramatic effect.
Pause, yeah. I think that I don't really desire to live in the city. I could live in the city maybe as my kids are older, so I'm going to choose the country. Not that I really want to live in the country either.
I'm country all day.
Really?
It is my
I
dream.
guess I wouldn't mind. Yeah, it just...
Basically, like the way that Erica and her family live, that's my dream.
You know what?
Like I want to have chickens.
Not that they have a compound or anything like that, but if you have people closer to you, I'd love that. Yeah, but I don't really. I'm a scaredy cat. I don't want to live out in the country by myself.
Listen,
my husband works so much.
Listen,
what?
It's America. That's why we have guns.
I know. Second Amendment, right? But I don't even watch the ID channel by myself at home.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just feel like obviously I'm a mama bear and I do anything to protect my cubs / children, but I'm too scared. Like I'm saying like, what if you lived a mile or 2 miles down the road? You don't have to live in my backyard, right? But if my sister and parents lived close by, I could definitely do a similar situation to what you're referring to with Erica and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be scary not having any family that you know close.
That's what I think about when I think of acres and acres, not just like 2 or 3. 2 or 3 would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking
because there's even neighborhoods like that have 1, 2, 3 up to 5 or 10 acres, and you're still in a neighborhood.
There was this TikTok that went viral last year I saw, and it was like most affordable or like crazy properties, and it was one of those accounts that's not even like it's not like business or anything. They're not like a real estate agent. They're not like a broker or anything like that. But they were like number 1 spots that they would buy immediately. And it was one of them, I think number 3 was in Arkansas. It was like a country home with a barn in the back and just all this property with a river running through it.
Wow. I wonder where in Arkansas.
It was like not far from here.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure it would be pretty easy for you to pick that up. Like find that. It was a big trend. And I saw it posted everywhere.
I bet it's gorgeous though.
Yeah, it was pretty. And they were just doing it from Google Maps though.
Really?
Yeah, they weren't even like.
Oh, I've seen some videos like that.
On the property. And but then maybe some other people did like a spinoff and they put up like Zillow so you could see like better pictures.
Yeah.
But like the point is the price was crazy. That's why people were like, that's insane.
Yeah.
You can get something like that.
Arkansas is affordable. There's so many people relocating here, from all over. A lot from California, a lot from the recent floods and everything in North Carolina and Tennessee and the fires, obviously. Even prior to the devastating fires in California, there was a lot of an influx of people that were moving. I think we were rated number 1 last year for people that are relocating places. I think Arkansas was number 1, I'm pretty sure. I saw that on some sites. Yeah.
I think I heard something about that too, but it could have been from you.
Probably, absolutely. But as far as I think that I would choose the countryside. But I always think about the maintenance too, of having to maintain all of that. That's a lot. And then if you have to turn around and pay someone, it's kind of like, is this worth it?
Yes.
What do you think?
I don't know.
You're just going to grab a tractor and go at it?
Yeah, absolutely. I would myself or me and my son. I just like the idea of when you're out in the country, like you just have more family time.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree.
Like those types of people typically have more family time, and I like that a lot more. Not that you can't have it here. It's just too many options, which I was just thinking about another question. Here's my next question.
Okay.
Would you rather live somewhere where you are... Did you live in Texas?
No, you did. Not me.
Okay.
Yeah. I had family in Texas, though.
Okay. I was about to say HEB, but that probably wouldn't be very... What's a really... Like, what's a restaurant you really like? Do you like In-N-Out?
I've only had it a couple of times. It's good. Yeah.
David's Burgers?
I like David's Burgers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather live somewhere where David's Burgers is within 30 minutes? Or you live somewhere where you can actually get next day delivery from Amazon?
Oh, next day delivery from Amazon.
My gosh.
It's like my husband, each time he comes home, thankfully now because we're renting right now, which we are renting a townhouse, kind of like being in the city. Yeah. So if anybody ever wants to consider that, they're leasing or you can purchase. So
the hub,
those
right?
contacts. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's great for people that are relocating and thinking they want low maintenance and everything like that. But point in me saying that is the garage is in the back of it. So he doesn't get to see all the Amazon deliveries.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things I really, really miss from Dallas is, living here now, is the fact that you can literally order something on Amazon. It could be like right now it's 11:15. I could order it now and it would deliver that afternoon. Yeah. I miss that.
That's kind of dangerous, though.
It was incredibly dangerous. Yeah. I mean,
I
every
don't know
day.
about that, Joe.
Every day something would come, pretty much.
I deleted the Amazon app off my phone on purpose, but I have Safari, so I'm on it almost every day, so it really doesn't make any sense.
No way. I deleted TikTok before I deleted that.
But you don't have TikTok anymore?
I just got it back, right now. I just got it back. Okay. I've been off of it for like a year.
Me.
Oh yeah.
And so does everybody else.
Yeah. What's your?
Oh, you know what? It's Molly. Let's see.
As in, I don't already know because I don't schedule her social media posts. But we're just gonna act like I don't know so she can say it.
It's at Molly MOLLY RAD RAD as in dog _realtor. So come follow along. Let's be friends.
Okay, let's talk buying and selling a home.
All right.
What's your history in buying and selling? And I mean personally, not as a real estate agent, what, because you move quite a bit.
I know, right?
Yeah. So what's that been like for you? Renting, buying, selling?
We've moved probably a lot more than most people. And for us, it's easy now. I think I could own a moving company and help people come in and pack and declutter and get rid of all the things you don't need to take to the next property. So, I know for a lot of people, it's a huge deal moving from one location to another. Even if you're renting and you're buying for the first time, just that big step, moving is stressful. It's stressful. So for us personally, yes, as you're aware, and we've discussed in our last episode, I'm from Arkansas, but I've lived in Ohio and I've lived in North Carolina. And of course, we returned back to Arkansas. So, for us, we've sold a lot of homes and purchased probably more than normal, unless you're flipping homes or doing the BRRRR method or anything like that. So for us, it's easy. It's an easy transition. Got the moving and the packing down, and obviously know the process of the purchase process. So that makes it a little bit less stressful and a little bit easier.
When's the first time you purchased your first home?
I was 23 when I purchased my first home.
Look at you.
Yeah.
You say you're not a guru.
I know, right?
I'm joking. No, that's awesome. Okay. What were some things that happened when you were purchasing that first home that you didn't expect? What are some things that went just as you thought it would?
Yeah. So when I purchased my first home, I was 23 and obviously not in real estate. So there was a lot of first for me in that process. It was a spec home. I was lucky enough to find one in an area, and it was a rural development. And it was actually it was in 2009. So it was during that recession time. So with the type of loan I got, if I stayed in that home for 3 years, then I actually got paid $8,000. Yeah.
Wow.
To stay there. Yeah. And it was a brand new home.
That's crazy.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So there was an incentive, obviously, right, for people to purchase because of the recession. So new home, spec home, 23, and I had a 1-year-old. It was fun. My neighbors were awesome in that house. So, but as far as I just didn't really know anything. I knew nothing.
Do you remember? And if you don't mind sharing, do you remember how much? You said what year was that, and what were the square feet, and how much did you buy it for?
I want to say it was like around 12 or 1,300 square feet, and it was less than 130. Yeah, can you imagine? I know how much they sell for now too. Yeah,
that's just so funny.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So like
brand new.
Yeah, just for reference, like we're in Chaffee right now, and if you drive down Wells Lake and you get onto Stonehouse and you go over there in that back neighborhood, they're building all those new homes,
right?
And they start, they're about the same square foot. They start at 200.
Oh, I know.
And they're brand new. They're selling them brand new. So 130.
Less than 130. Yes.
That's nuts.
Hey,
really,
listen,
like
I had stainless steel appliances and granite countertops. At that time, stained concrete was really in too, so I had stained concrete in like the main areas.
Can we just go back?
Right.
Like just rewind time
a little bit.
Pick it
on up and bring it over here?
Well, I say I want the market to rewind time a little bit, but really, like we have so much more. We know way more now.
Yeah.
That's harder too. But okay,
Can you imagine the equity that I would have in that house if I still had it though? It was fully bricked.
Yeah.
With a fully fenced in backyard in Alexander, which is like Benton Bryant, Bryant area.
Oh, that's kind of like booming right now.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Hey, and you know what? I sell in Central Arkansas and Benton and Bryant and Hot Springs.
And that they got a Buc-ee's coming.
I know in Benton area.
I should have did a question about Buc-ee's. But
I love Buc-ee's.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So whenever we would drive back and forth from North Carolina, there were two in that direction. Obviously, the one in Texas too. But their brisket is amazing.
Okay, listen.
Do you like it?
Listen.
What?
I was in Texas, and I had the Tesla Model Y, so I would have to charge there all the time. And minimum, I had free charging because I had gotten the car brand new for like the first, honestly, it was maybe a year. So all the way up until that time, though, I would stop at Buc-ee's and charge for free. I would still spend $15 every single time.
Yes.
Because it's so good. I would get their brisket sandwiches or their tacos, their breakfast tacos. The best tacos I've ever had in my life. Breakfast tacos.
I've never had their breakfast tacos.
They have
even their
brisket.
fruit was good quality and
I
stuff
know.
there. And did you ever have their beef jerky?
Yes.
So good.
I've had everything
and it's
at
so
this
clean.
point. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's kind of like
Don't
the
get me
Chick-fil-A of it's kind of like like how they run it and
Yeah.
stuff. Kind of the Chick-fil-A of gas stations and
Yeah,
stuff. So.
yeah. Because I remember when Quick Trip started coming around, and that was a big deal. But yeah, so crazy.
I love Buc-ee's though.
Okay, second
because we have a
house.
Tesla too. So
Yeah, y'all would
charging
charge
it
a
there,
lot.
you're there
Yeah.
for at least 20 minutes. You know?
Yeah, yeah,
So it's a nice little break.
yeah. Okay, second house you bought.
Let's see. That would have been in Hot Springs. I don't really remember that cost.
You remember how many square feet? Was it bigger?
Yeah.
I imagine it would have had to be because you probably had more than one kid at that time.
No, not at that time. Let's see. My third one I remember because I went down in square foot, but it was a newer home. And initially our thought was to buy that one and then stay there. Hopefully the goal was to pay it off and use it as a rental, but live in it first to get more bang for your buck. And that one was around 15 to 1,600 square feet. And we didn't really have a larger backyard or anything. And that was in Hot Springs as well. And that one was, I think we purchased it for $150 maybe. It was less than $160 for sure. And it was a cute little house. And then when my husband decided that he wanted to pursue what he's doing now, when he applied for fellowship, we had to list that house. So our goal didn't end up happening because we had to relocate.
Oh, okay.
We relocated to Ohio. And at that time, we bought a home. Thankfully, we were able to buy a house. And I loved that neighborhood in Ohio. I loved it. It had, I think, 300 to 400 homes. It had a common area with 7 acres that like the kids could play. That was a playground, soccer field, and all the things. And it was really the thing that attracted us there as well. And that house was just under 2,400 square feet. Okay. And we did end up finishing our basement there because it was in Northwest Ohio. So it's cold there in the winters. And so we did finish our basement out. You can't count that as square footage because it was below grade. Yeah. So, and I think we got that, we kind of jumped up in price because Ohio was a different market than Arkansas. And it was a spec home as well. And I think it was like under $350. That's what we ended up paying for that.
That sounds a lot more normal.
Yeah. Huh. And then COVID hit while we were there. So it was a blessing in disguise, the neighborhood that we ended up choosing for the kids to be able to hang out once everybody was comfortable and everything. Because in Ohio, we shut down before Arkansas did, obviously population and everything. So the kids were doing school from home and all that good stuff. Honestly, I kind of miss it from that aspect.
Yes.
Of things, not from any of the other aspects.
Yes.
Just more family time.
Well, me, COVID was honestly kind of a huge blessing for me and my family because the type of work that I do, everyone had to go online. And so I was like super busy.
Yeah.
I was working every day till about probably like 9 or 10 p.m. Just helping either churches install a brand new live stream system to go online, or whether it's a business, now they have to do curbside delivery. They have to get this advertised. It was pretty crazy. It's pretty nuts. Okay, so now let's actually start transitioning into the point where I act like I've never bought a home before, which I haven't. I've never bought a home before.
You're the perfect candidate.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
Right.
But let's start with some of those questions. One, we were talking about square footage and things, and I do have some knowledge about this, but I am curious, what is considered normal square footage nowadays for a home? Because when you were saying 1,300 square feet, to me, that's like pretty tiny. I don't know. It sounds pretty small. But then around like 15 to 16 people, at least in Texas, I know that was definitely more so. 16 was considered normal, 100 square feet. So what's considered normal nowadays? And what are you expected to have normally in a layout like that? We're talking 2-bed, 3-bed, master bath.
Your question goes a little deeper though.
Okay.
Because are we talking new construction? Are we talking, because even price per square foot is going to be different for a home that's 20 years old versus a home that was finished within this year or last year.
Let's talk, let's say new because, those homes that are older are probably 3-bed
Yeah.
for that size.
I think most people these days are at least 3-bedroom, if not 4.
Okay.
And if we're talking new construction, and I'm strictly only talking about Chaffee Crossing area right now, you're going to definitely be near the 200 per square foot range. And now you might find something slightly cheaper, per square foot, depending on if you're looking for something that was built within the last 5 to 10 years or something like that.
Okay.
And as far as square footage, some of the homes close to Wells Lake where you were just referring to and everything, they're around 1,600 square foot to about, 2,000 along Wells Lake in some of those really cute neighborhoods right there. So very decent sized homes, I think. Don't you?
Yes. I just like bigger.
What?
I just to me, I know I'm crazy or whatever, but I just think that's too small for me and my family. I would rather have bigger. That's one of the reasons why we haven't bought yet, because I'm stubborn. I want my home to be like a place for big groups of families and friends where we can host and we can do those different types of things. Like, a lot of times your kid has that friend who has the nicer home, and so your kid wants to go there because they can just do more. They can go more places in the house. I want that to be our house. I want to be that friend.
Those are stepping stones.
I know.
Those are stepping stones.
I know.
But so you got to start somewhere, and then you got to build equity.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I've been learning.
You can't just automatic. Now you could hit the lottery, or you could obviously, with your skill set, have a huge following on YouTube and make buku's amount of money and be able to do that for your first home, which is fantastic for those people that are able to. But for the majority of people, it's a stepping stone.
Yeah.
So
I guess I don't want to be the majority. But here's a problem with that I've realized, and I do understand, is just the equity standpoint. So can we just talk about equity for a second? Because I don't think a lot of people understand what that really means. And I'm just kind of giving some preference from what I'm understanding, and kind of the reason why I've been changing my whole mindset behind buying a home and not it being my dream home first. Is like recently I've learned that if you have enough equity, you can get pre-approved for a lot of things, even though you don't necessarily have like liquid assets, like cash in the bank. And so can you explain that a little bit?
Well, let me start somewhere else first for a minute. So when you rent, how much do you pay in interest?
Rent? I don't know.
100%.
Yeah.
You're paying someone else's.
Mortgage. Yeah, for them.
Yeah. So because most people are avoiding purchasing because interest rates are higher than they were during COVID. And hopefully they fall. But right now, they're between 6 and 7%,
Yes.
And so that is holding a lot of people from deciding to make that step. So even for your first home, that I'm saying is your stepping stone, not your huge home that you see.
2,500 square feet is what I want, minimum.
2,500 is a really great size.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
It's a great size home. But you know what? You can make whatever size home, a 1,600 square foot home or an 1,800 square foot home, into exactly what you're wanting it to be to entertain. Just live a little bit more minimalistically when it comes to furniture and everything, so you feel like it's a little bit more spacious. But back to the interest rates, sometimes that's holding people off. But you're paying 100% in rent right now. So 100% versus 6 or 7%.
Well, okay, let me ask you this then, because I've ran into this issue. I've ran numbers, again, coming from a new home buyer's perspective, because I've ran the numbers, and nowadays when you buy a home, like it would be significantly more that I would be paying every month versus renting for the same amount of square feet. And so that's kind of, because that did not used to be the case just 5 years ago, if you were to buy a home, more than likely, a lot of times, people were paying lower in their mortgage than you would be renting. That's not the case right now. Even here in Fort Smith, it just...
Okay, I understand where you're coming from, and we're going to touch on the equity part because
Okay.
we're getting there. But as far as renting versus a mortgage right now, I get that plus you need money down. You need money down too. So you have to budget that as well. So you have to figure out what your timeline is, correct? And we're renting right now, so I can't say anything, but our situation's a little bit different because we're in the build process. And when we relocated here, we didn't find anything that we wanted to purchase at that time. We just thought, well, we'll just rent and then find land to
Yes.
build. You know, so we're paying 100% right now for somebody else. So you're saying your rent is cheaper than your mortgage.
It
right
would
now.
be. If
Yeah.
I reran the numbers, and it would be.
So the benefit for a purchase then would be, yes, interest is a little bit higher, your mortgage is going to be a little bit higher. But do you see any other new homes right now going down in price to build, or are they just increasing?
Going down. Not new homes. They're definitely not going down.
No. So the cost to build is going up, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you've waited a year. Last year, that home might have been a little bit less in price versus this year, versus next year, and the next, correct?
Yeah, so it goes up. Oh, so then like you're basically like...
So
I get
that
what you're
equity
saying.
you're going to get in your home.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. So let's say you find a great neighborhood that has that 2,500 square feet that you want at that price that is affordable for you and your family, right? So you purchase it. And then what about 3 more months? Somebody else purchases one, or 6 more months, somebody else has purchased one. And those, I'm talking about new construction right now. The different phases of neighborhoods tend to go up in price, right? So you might buy a house for 250, and then someone else may buy it for 260, or another year goes by and someone might get one for 280. This is just a hypothetical situation, and you're building that equity, right? Because that's the same neighborhood you're in, similar comp, similar home, and it sold for more than what your home sold for.
But yes, to make it more... I understand what you're saying, but just in case someone else doesn't, I think right here is a good place to explain equity, because you say building equity. I'm like, well, that doesn't matter because I don't even know what that is.
Right. So when
explain
you
equity.
purchase a home, and I'm going to get off renting versus purchasing. So when you purchase a home, you're building equity in your home, because homes that are being built around you year by year, or even homes that are already existing, the price is going up and up and up. Just like we were just talking. The same home I bought when I was 23 for less than 130 is selling for well over 250 now. So that equity, because I bought a home, if I would have stayed there, all of that additional would have been there that I could have cashed out on some of that if I wanted to. What if I had other debt that I needed to pay off? What if I had a credit card that I was like, hey, you know what? I really need to cash out on some of the equity that I built over these years that I've owned my home. Because home prices continue to rise.
And one way another way that people can kind of think about it too, that really helped me to think about this is, let's say that you bought a house for $130,000, right? But let's say when you bought that house, or you were in the process of buying that house, you got it, not surveyed, what do you call it? You got it
Appraised.
You got it appraised for the price after you done some renovations, right? So let's say you're going to buy the house for $130,000, but you decide I want to put $15,000 in. So you're going to appraise it based off of what you put in. So let's say you bought it for 45. Is that the number? Yeah, 145. Well, if you stayed in that house for 2 years, and let's just say that wasn't your dream house in my case, like for instance, maybe my first home isn't my dream house. You stay in that house for 2 years, then one, you have a tax benefit, right? You know what I'm talking. Can you explain that a little bit too?
Well, how do you want me to explain it? Like as far as
like the fact that after 2 years, if you wanted to either sell.
Oh, you mean the capital gains tax?
Yeah, you don't have to.
Okay. So I'm not a CPA. Let's just put that disclaimer out there. But you're referring to if you purchase a home and let's say in your situation, you made renovations that actually benefited that property, because there are some things that you can do that don't necessarily benefit it. So let's just hypothetically say you did renovations and it benefited that property, and then it was appraised for more than what you paid for it. As long as you stay in that home for 2 years, you don't pay the capital gains on that money that you made off of your property. Is that what you're referring
Yes.
to?
And so let's say, for instance, if you did do that and you raise the property value, one of the key things that, I've learned over the past year is that is literally money in your pocket, to where now maybe the first time you went to go buy a home, now maybe you sold you appraised and you put in, when you bought the home and you put in some investments, let's say like I said, you did 145, by now you could sell for 160, right? So that's 15,000 more that you made after 2 years. Say you keep it for another 2 years. For some reason, you get up to like 180 or I don't know, some crazy. All that money is now either money that you can sell the house for and get your dream home for at 2,500 square feet, or that you could either have a bigger down payment so that your mortgage goes down, or even the same square footage of home if you bought a new home.
Yeah, and you know what? When I'm telling you stepping stones, this is what we did. We would buy a house, we'd be in it for at least 2 years. And then thankfully, because of the way the market was trending and everything, we were able to make money off of those properties and then take that. And then each time we were able to go up a little bit more, to get to your home that you desire to be in. So unless, again, you hit the lottery or something like that, then you do have to build equity in homes.
Maybe I did hit the lottery.
Maybe you did, but can you share a little?
No. No.
But so we did the same thing though. We each time we built a little bit of equity, and then we would just take that and roll it into the next house.
Okay.
Okay. And now that next house may have been a little bit more, but then when we turn around and sold it, then we were able to benefit from that. And that might not be always the case, Joe. I'm just talking about personally what I've done, and I feel like some people may say, hey, you know what? I'm just not at that point because the interest rates are so high.
Yes.
But think about this for a second, okay? The interest rates may be high right now, but what if they drop next year? Or what if they drop in 6 months? Or what if they drop in 2 years? You know what you can do? You can refinance.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to actually talk about. So I'm glad you moved in that direction so we can kind of talk a little bit more there. Is what are some of the benefits and drawbacks of buying or selling now in 2025?
I think that people are always going to have pros and cons. And again, it's on a case-to-case basis. So it depends on your financial situation, your budget, and what best fits you and your family, So if renting makes more sense right now, that's what you need to do. And then while you're renting, since your rent is lower, then you just need to make sure that you're saving for your goal. Because a lot of times what happens is people rent and they're like, I'm saving all this money. Let's go out to eat more, or let me go to Amazon and buy more outfits every day, or
But it won't
whatever.
deliver in the same day,
No, it won't. It doesn't. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're not saving for their future that they want.
Yes.
So I think there's always going to be pros and cons no matter what market that you're in. You just need to look at it as, okay, what is my goal for me, or what is my goal for my family? And if I feel like I can attain that right now, then I need to go ahead and do that, because real estate is something that is always a good thing to invest in, And again, I feel like if it's something that you can afford to do, that you should consider. And then if it's kind of tight, hopefully, then rates will go down some. I don't think they'll ever go down to what they were during COVID.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see 2% again, or even 3%, probably.
I want to cry.
No, don't.
No.
That would be great, though.
No.
I mean, but I just want to be realistic, because I don't want people to be, twiddling their thumbs thinking, oh, well,
And I will say, people don't talk about it a lot, but there were definitely a lot of negative impacts on our country because, it was down that low. the stock market was obviously not doing well,
Right.
that type of thing. But yeah. So
Well, and you know how supply and demand works and stuff too. So people during COVID may have overpaid for something too. So,
yes, for sure.
so there's always going to be pros and cons in any market that you're in
Yeah.
during COVID or now, you know. But I mean, I work in real estate and I've only seen the benefits of being a homeowner. So I'm going to always feel like that's what's best. But again, you have to be able to evaluate your own finances and figure out if now is the time, you know. And I think also developing a relationship with a real estate agent that you feel like you can have these conversations with, and they can help guide you in that direction. You know, they may have great relationships with several different lenders that they think that would be best for you to talk to see what works better for you. Get that pre-approval. See where you're at right now, you know? And if it's not where you want to be, if you can't buy that 2,500 square foot house or that 5,000 square foot house right now, then at least you know what you need to be moving towards, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I would say even like for me in my case, like exactly what you're saying is true because let's say for instance, like I went in thinking there's no way, like I'm not where I need to be. I don't have enough for a down deposit. My credit score isn't there, yada, yada, yada. I'm self-employed. It's going to be really hard to prove income. Well, when I went in and talked to the lenders,
Right.
they were like, you're fine. Like you can get a home now if you want. And I was like, really? They're like, yeah, it's not as, sometimes it's not even as difficult as you think it is.
Right. It's just you have to explore that option though. You know, if that is a goal of yours, and speaking of credit scores or debt to income ratio and things like that, again, I'm not a lender, but I'll just touch on a few things. There are people that can help you, you
Yes.
know, in order to pay off some of that, whatever it might be, student loan or credit card or whatever.
Well,
that
I
you
even
need to
say
do
this.
first.
This is a lot of people don't know about this. I definitely didn't. My first time when I was in Texas, because when we moved here, we were actually going to buy a house. Like that's what we were planning to do is buy a house. And so I was talking to a real estate agent there, and they were like looking for us properties here. But then we decided to not buy a house. We decided to rent instead, which is definitely. Like I feel like that's smart to do when you're moving to. We had never lived here before,
Right. You wanted to get acclimated to where
Yeah.
you were so you can make those decisions in an effective manner so you didn't make a
and
rash
then
decision.
by a year or so later, right?
Absolutely.
Which now is a year or so later, so that's why we're looking into it again. But she was helping us get ready to make that, to get approved or whatever. And so I was saying, oh well, my credit score isn't where I want it to be, to where I want to even do that right now. She was like, well, let me refer you to this person. And there are different people who, like law firms, who can literally go take things off your credit score for
They can
you.
dispute it. Yeah.
On your behalf. So basically what they do is not only will they remove some stuff, but if you have any debt, they can remove it for pennies on a dollar. And then they can do contracts and things to where not only do they remove that, not only do they pay off that debt, whatever it is for you, but they also get it completely removed off your credit score. And so honestly, like from that conversation of just starting that conversation over a year and a half ago, that was the biggest thing for us overall, because that was a huge life transition for us. I was able to like completely repair anything I had ever done on my credit score for just like an insignificant amount of money. That would now put me in a much better position to buy at a much better rate and a lot more comfortable having a better debt to income ratio as well as just a better credit score overall, So I think initiating those conversations, not even sometime knowing when you want to buy is even like it's okay to do that too.
Because how would you have known about that resource? You wouldn't have known about it, right?
idea.
Well, I mean, you could have gotten
call
on
them musicians.
Google,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And tried to figure out what to do. But it was having that relationship with that real estate agent that in turn benefited you and your wife.
And I would even say I did go to Google, and Google didn't pull that up, right?
Yeah.
They pulled up all of these, like how you prepare your credit score, all those different types of things. They pulled up all of these ads, right? And tried to make me pay money to someone who wasn't these guys who just did it all for me. They call on your behalf. And it wasn't really that expensive. And in fact, the return that you're going to get, what was recommended to me then is like, hey, instead of you saving up for a deposit for a house right now, we recommend that you go this way.
Absolutely.
And I don't regret that at all, because now we have much better options to choose from.
And people just don't really realize, even, being a high school student or whatnot, unless their parents are teaching them or unless they somehow fell into this knowledge on needing a really good credit score, and building that credit score up is important too for any purchases, a car or whatnot. Having a small credit card that you stay on top of in order to build your credit card is helpful. But from the buying side of things, I'm glad that real estate agent had that resource for y'all to help you in the long run,
Yeah. And,
I think that's what we should all strive to be, though.
Yeah.
As a realtor, like we were discussing in the other episode, I want to be that resource to give that information to. You may come to me and say, hey, I want to buy a home. I just don't really think I'm there. Then we go to a lender, similar situation, and you're not there yet. But that's okay. We're all humans. We've made mistakes along the way, whether you meant to intentionally or not,
And I really do think
Yeah.
it is important to have those conversations. I know we keep saying it over and over again, but because a lot of times your perception of what that lifestyle looks like can be so tainted, right? For me, for instance, especially living in Texas, I lived around in my friend group, my circle, my workplace, where a lot of successful people. So I just really thought you had to have this like 750 to 850 credit score. You had to have, $30,000 ready in the bank to go to do this deposit. I just thought that was the reality. But going to the bank, they were like, for your first home, no. Like, you don't need even, like, you can get by and get a home that you like for not even close to those requirements. And so I've learned at that time, I want to say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think they were saying really you just want to make sure that you do have a clean credit score, but as far as the score itself, like 650 or above, and then just having, I think they were saying save up about 25,000 or like 20,000, but even still, just be prepared to have that amount of money. But with you being a first-time home buyer, also with me being African American, there are a lot of different first-time home programs and grants that I can apply for.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. There's so many options.
However, I decided for me and my family that I would still rather save up that money, get those grants, and then that money I would have put down for all of the down payment. Now we have that money in cash to go furnish our home. So we're not going in debt for doing it that way, if that's possible.
Yeah.
So I just think there's so many options once you know your options.
Right. But it's making sure you know the process. So creating that relationship with a real estate agent you feel like you can speak to. Because a lot of this stuff is so personal, and it's hard to open up on things like that sometimes. So having those conversations with someone to be like, hey, where do I start from here? And then them helping you navigate that process. Start with a lender, one that they may have a really great relationship with, to have those conversations, and you have those financial conversations with that lender. And then let's say, hey, your debt to income ratio is good. You got approved for what you want, and now you've got the money, right? You've saved it up. Then but let's back up. Hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Whenever you're looking for a real estate agent, that real estate agent should have a buyer's consultation with you to discuss all of this, first of all, to let you know the process on how it goes. So that can be in a meeting in person, or it could be a meeting over the phone as well. So start that conversation. It's always great, though, to have a relationship with a lender and have a pre-approval, because there's no reason for you to go start looking at homes that are $700,000 and you like every single aspect. It's got that huge kitchen and that massive backyard,
I'm paying $700,000.
But guess what?
Yeah.
It's not in the budget.
Yeah, for sure.
So in order for you to not waste your time, the real estate agent's time, or the seller's, for example, for that $700,000 home, you can't afford it. There's no reason to, they're cleaning their house. They're getting their kids out of it. They're keeping it organized. You don't want them to waste their time. You don't want to waste yours, and you don't want to waste your real estate agent's time. So knowing what your budget is, and then starting to look in that range too, and them helping you navigate that process is where you start.
Yeah. Okay, one of the last things I want to do before we close, I guess, is why should I trust you? Coming from a home buyer's perspective, this is the biggest purchase I'm ever going to make in my life. This is maybe one of the most serious, like, processes that I'll go through with my wife, getting all the paperwork in order, getting all of our tax returns, pulling all of our bank statements. Like, it's a lot of work. Why should I trust you with handling all that work and handling the most important decision in our life?
Yeah.
One of them.
That's a great question. So not only have I done it, as we've discussed, personally, but I've done it a lot from a professional aspect. I've done it for first-time home buyers. I've done it for people who've owned multiple homes. So I have that knowledge base. And again, I have the resources to help you through the process. And I'm not hands-off. I'm hands-on. So as long as you're allowing me to do so, I want to be there for you, each step of the way. So whether that be a phone call like, hey, you know what? I don't really know. We may want to take a break from doing this. It's a little bit stressful. And you may hold off for 3 more months. Or you may decide, you know what? I see the house that I want, and let's go take a look at it tomorrow. I'm going to carve out that time for you. You are my client. I'm going to take all the time in the world that you need. I'm not going to rush you into something you don't want to do. I'm on your timeline. I'm hired by you. So that's how you have to look at it, is that I'm employed by you. So you're going to get that concierge service from me.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I guess the last one too, and I know this is a question that if I was listening to this podcast, it would be burning in my ear. How does it benefit you to have a relationship with me as a home buyer?
Well, that's number one. I want to build relationships with everybody, so I want a friendship just as much as I want a client, you know? So, and some people may not want that from me, and that's okay. They just may want from a professional standpoint to hire me, but not to have to. But for me, it's more than that. I want to build relationships and friendships, and I want to be able to help you a year from now when you purchase the house. Hey, I'm having trouble with the plumbing or electrical. Do you have a contact that you can help me with? Absolutely. Can we grab lunch next week too, and catch up? Or, hey, my kids want friends too, So I want to build these relationships. It's not all about just having you as my client and making money off of you. I want to build relationships with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you can think of for a first-time home buyer that would be good for them to hear?
Like I said, I think starting a relationship and having conversations and interviewing multiple real estate agents to see which one best fits you personally or you for your family is a very significant thing that you need to be looking at, because everybody offers something different. And I don't think people realize that. I think they just think everybody's the same. They're not. They offer different things. And make sure to have that buyer's consultation. We could go really in depth on having a buyer's consultation, the exact process in buying a home and everything like that. So we just kept everything pretty brief here, but there's much more that goes into the home buying process than what we've all covered right now. So contact me.
Yeah. How can they contact you?
I have social media. I have Facebook. I have Instagram. I have TikTok. I have a website, makeamovewithmolly.com as well. So if you're looking to buy or sell, there's information you can fill out on there. My cell phone number is on there as well, 419-464-8552. Contact me directly.
Awesome.
Yeah.